Hi, I'm Liz de Guzman and I'm the Data Curator for Esri UK. I look after ArcGIS Living Atlas of the world, and this session is all about showing you how Living Atlas can enable collaboration and answer important questions in Wales. With the rise of data and more organisations becoming aware of GIS, a couple of trends have risen in the industry. First is that GIS now is more than just providing individual datasets. There is an increasing focus on how these can be combined and integrated for new ways of thinking. And the second is the rise of community GIS, and this is all about a community-based approach to the sharing and the creation of data. To support these trends, Esri provides a solution, and that solution is ArcGIS Living Atlas of the world. Living Atlas is a library of curated geographic content made up of contributions from Esri, our partners, and the global GIS community. These datasets include live feed services of weather and natural hazards, pre-trained machine learning models to classify land cover or building footprints, and a whole host of informative feature layers and applications. And this wealth of data can be accessed with an ArcGIS Online subscription. The value of Living Atlas is that each item has been reviewed by a data curator, and this is to ensure that the items are authoritative and ready to use to support your work. Data curators are also responsible for sourcing new data and to ensure that the existing content is updated. By doing this, Esri can continue to provide datasets that reflect current events and help you solve some of the real-world challenges we are facing today. And that's how it gets its name. It's a living atlas as the collection is continuously evolving and growing. Living Atlas is also central to our ArcGIS system. This means that users can seamlessly integrate Living Atlas data across our range of products. You can work with the data as if it was your own or combine it with other information. Whether that's combining it with your organization's data or another's, this has helped transform traditional GIS workflows. Users are no longer needing to find and maintain the data, and this element of collaboration through data sharing has helped create new opportunities. One of our most recent editions of Living Atlas data for Wales is from Cadw, who have published their World Heritage Sites. These are designated areas that have great cultural or natural significance. So this got me thinking. With COP26 last month, it's clear that we need to understand the world around us to know what threats it may face in the future. So one of the questions I wanted to answer was this. What heritage sites in Wales may be at risk of human-induced land cover change? To answer this question, I first needed to understand the land cover in Wales. And to do this, I used Esri's 2020 land cover data available in Living Atlas. Now, this is not just an ordinary land cover map, but an incredible project undertaken by Esri, Microsoft, and Impact Observatory earlier this year. It uses Sentinel-2 imagery and a machine learning algorithm to classify land cover. All in all, about 20 billion handcrafted pixels were trained, and the dataset was produced in under a week. This is Esri's highest resolution land cover map to date, with a global coverage and a spatial resolution of 10 meters. All this and more is available to integrate in your workflow with a click of a button. Now, as residents of Wales, I'm sure you're familiar with the land cover, but after some analysis, it was interesting to find out that over 65% is made up of natural landscapes, like grass, trees, and scrub/shrub. Crops made up about 29%, and built areas only made up 6%. Now I was ready to take my analysis further. To answer my question, I combined Cadw's World Heritage Sites with Esri's Land Cover 2050 Vulnerability to Change dataset, which is also available in Living Atlas. This is a predictive model which highlights areas most vulnerable to change due to the expansion of urban and agricultural cover. This model is based on the European Space Agency's land cover maps, which observed land cover change between the years 2010 to 2018. As you can see, the map uses a scale of 0 to 1, where 1 indicates the highest vulnerability. So I undertook some geoprocessing to calculate the mean vulnerability values for each site, and I was only interested in identifying the highest scoring sites. And these included the slate landscape of Northwest Wales, which came out at a range of 0.02 to 0.48, the highest of which were the Penrhyn Slate Quarry in Bethesda and the Ogwen Valley to Port Penrhyn. And the second site is the Pont Cysylltu Aqueduct and Canal, which came out as 0.38. So I wanted to look at the potential causes for these higher values. The variables used to calculate the model considered things like population density, distance to croplands, distance to urban areas, and more. So in the case of Penrhyn Slate Quarry and its surrounding sites, this cultural landscape is close to the city of Bangor. Perhaps urban expansion into these areas has resulted in this medium risk vulnerability value. The Snowdonia region is also known to be an adventure sports capital, with zip lining, climbing, and caving centres set in its preserved quarries. In the future, could this designation status attract further developments? And could it be seen by some to be more valuable than allowing this heritage site to remain? The second site is the Aqueduct and Canal, and this is near the rural towns of Chirk and Llangollen. Again, it could be possible that future town or agricultural expansion in these areas could have resulted in this score. Though recently I discovered that areas near the Trevor Basin might be undergoing development over the next 10 to 15 years. This includes setting aside land for mixed-use development, building an education and welcome centre, and car parking space. Again, could the possibility of economic investment into this area negatively impact the preservation of this heritage site in the future? As much as I'd like to, I don't have the answers. We don't know what the future holds for these sites. We can only make estimates. But what the data in Living Atlas allows us to do is to make better informed predictions. It allows us to ask these important questions. Are there enough control measures in place to ensure the preservation of this significant heritage sites? And which sites should be prioritised first to protect them from these possible human threats? I'd just like to highlight that all these insights would not be possible if it wasn't for the great contributions made by the global GIS community. All this data is from Living Atlas, and by unifying these different datasets together, we can better understand our changing world and protect our treasured landscapes. Next, I'd like to showcase some of the demographic data we have available. Earlier this year, the Office for National Statistics mid-year population estimate was contributed to Living Atlas. These datasets record population estimates between 2012 to 2019 and breaks these down into age range and gender. So it has been said that the structure of the Welsh population is changing. Generally, people are living longer and having fewer children, leading to the age structure shifting towards their later ages. So I was interested in identifying areas in the country where there is a young or aging population. I wanted to do this for the most recent year, which is 2019, and investigate at a middle super output area geography. And for the purpose of this example, I defined my young population as those aged 16 to 29, and my aging as those aged 65 plus. So the aging population are generally located near the coastal and rural areas. This trend could be explained with the fact that these areas are generally popular retirement destinations due to their closer proximity to natural landscapes. For example, we have these areas in Gwynedd, which is near the Snowdonia National Park, and we also have these areas in Ceredigion and Pembrokeshire, which are near some of the most beautiful coastal areas in Wales. On the other hand, the younger population are generally located near cities, such as Cardiff and also Swansea. But we can also see this trend in the northern parts of the country, such as in Bangor and the town of Aberystwyth. This could relate to the notion that cities tend to have more employment opportunities and amenities that cater for this age group. These locations are also renowned campuses for universities, which could explain this result. This is just one example showing how this dataset can provide valuable insights into the demographic of Wales. To take advantage of the time series element of this data, I wanted to take this analysis further and investigate how has the Welsh population changed over the most recent 5-year period, in this case between 2014 to 2019. And using ArcGIS Pro and some geoprocessing, here are my results. What was surprising for me is that the largest decrease in population during this period was not around the coastal towns with a predominant aging population. In fact, the largest decrease was actually in these areas near Aberystwyth, which showed around 10 to 16% decrease in population over the 5-year period. In 2014, the predominant age category is 16 to 29, and in 2019, this has not changed. This enables us to ask questions. Why has it experienced the largest decrease, yet the population remains relatively young? Has the large student scene in the area driven up house prices and deterred residents, or is the student scene here actually decreasing? Another interesting trend here is this area in Swansea, which has experienced a relatively big decrease in population by around 10%. In 2014, this area was predominantly made up of the 16 to 29 age group. Perhaps it was a popular area to live in for students and young professionals. Though in 2019, we see this change, and the predominant age group here now are those aged 45 to 64. So it seems that the younger population are leaving the area and an older demographic remains. Perhaps they are moving to other parts of Swansea or generally just leaving the area. Through this insight, we can then plan for the impacts that may come with a younger population emigrating from an area, leaving behind an older population. This phenomenon is better known as the brain drain. Now, if we turn our attention to those areas which have experienced some of the largest increase, this includes the cities of Newport and also Cardiff, which have experienced an increase of about 18 and 30%. As you can see, the population remains relatively young, with the 16 to 29 age group dominating in Cardiff and around about the same in Newport. Again, this could link back to how the younger population may flock to these cities for opportunities and amenities that cater to them. However, an interesting case in this area is this one, Newport 004. Here we saw a large increase in population by about 17% across all age groups. This seems to be a desirable area, particularly for those aged 45 to 64. Maybe it's their connections to the city and the benefits that come with it that are attracting people to this area. Though it could also be related to the fact that the Severn Bridge became toll-free in 2018, and this has led to people emigrating from England and relocating to Wales due to cheaper house prices, but still close enough to work in Bristol. Knowing this information could open up opportunities for local businesses, as there is a diverse demographic here. In sum, through these outputs, we see a variety of different demographic trends in Wales. There is an interesting relationship between population change and age structure, though I'd just like to reiterate that these assumptions are general and simply based on the data. The benefits of having a dataset like this so readily accessible in Living Atlas means that we can monitor these trends over time, interpret causes for these changes, and plan for the pressures and opportunities that may come with them. So for instance, for areas that are experiencing a brain drain, we can start to prioritize them and launch initiatives to retain the younger population. For these rapidly aging areas, we can better plan for the increased pressure on welfare services and potential economic impacts. And for those with an increasing and diverse population, this could potentially open up new opportunities for the local economy. So to reflect, all the data I've shown you today has been sourced from Living Atlas. With your ArcGIS Online subscription, you too have access to this library of curated, authoritative, and ready-to-use data. The best way to browse this data is by visiting the Living Atlas website. Here you can also find relevant resources such as the Living Atlas blog and information on how to contribute your own data to the platform. It's only when we combine all this different information together can we leverage this into actionable insights, like I have demonstrated today. And all of this would not be possible had there not been for these incredible contributions and the collaboration across the GIS community. And we want to help you do more. We want to continue to help you answer these important questions about Wales and the world around us. And you, as custodians of data, can help by making your data available in Living Atlas. To contribute is easy, and if you would like to find out more about the process and any other questions you may have, then please get in touch with me on the email you see on your screen.